I just saw, I saw Ryan Tedder. Ryan.
Yo, dude.
Ryan Tedder.
How you doing?
You know, I was half crazy before, so now I guess I'm just hold on. Hold on, tell me your story. I heard through the grapevine that, first of all, you have an amazing new song out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, man.
Better Days, perfectly
Yeah.
timed.
Yeah.
I mean, you write so fast, first of all. If I had a song that I thought, oh, if I wrote a song now, it wouldn't be done 3 years from now. But anyway.
I know, that's why when we actually
things.
physically get together, I'm gonna try to speed up that process. I'm gonna do my best to speed it up.
Please. I mean, I need all the help I can get. So anyway, you have this incredible song, Better Days, but it came out of a pretty wild situation. Can you just tell us what happened? You're quarantined with your band? I mean, that sounds
I'll tell you what happened. So we were one of the last two artists, bands, whatever you want to call us, on tour in Europe when the lockdown started. So Italy, we were headed to Milan. Italy closed its borders. So we had to bail and hang out in Amsterdam. We were doing a underplay tour, which I know you know it is, but to everybody watching, an underplay tour is when you go to a country or a place and you do maybe 6 or 7 shows in small venues, and you're doing it to set up for the much larger tour coming later in the year, right? So we were doing that. We ended up camping out in Amsterdam for 6 days because we had to cancel Italy. We were the last show, I think, there in Holland, and then we went and played London. I think we were the last concert in London, and then Trump pulled the plug on travel. Well, the last day that we were in London 2 weeks ago, I was up with a good friend of mine from a record label until 3 in the morning, 6 or 7 of us, eating pizza, sharing drinks, it was the last night of tour. So we were having a good time. And I get on a plane the next morning, and he texts me as I'm landing at LAX, "Mate, I'm so sorry to tell you this. You need to go straight to the doctor. I'm in the hospital right now. I woke up sick after we hung out. I got worse and worse throughout the day. Now I'm in the hospital, and I have coronavirus." So, of course, I was scared as hell when that happened, and we ended up going straight to the doctor. He tested us, and he's like, "Look, I won't have results for 5 days, and even when I get them, this test sucks. It's 30% inaccurate because we're not prepared for this. So I would quarantine yourself for the next 2 weeks." So that's what I did, and I had been gone for 2 weeks from my family, so it was tricky to get home, be within 5 minutes of my house, and then have to be locked down for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So yeah.
Have you seen your kids yet?
I have now. Yeah, I got home on Friday. It's been amazing. We were supposed to be in Japan right now for spring break, and so we're not. We're obviously not, and we're adjusting to life, the new norm of this, which this could be another 2 or 3 months. So yeah. So tell me, with you, where were you when this whole thing went down?
That's
right.
An old story now, but I was off in the
the
desert meditating, and I came out into this whole new world. I mean, it's what's the old story? Not Father Time, but the guy who sits under the tree. Rip Van Winkle. There's a little Rip Van Winkle. I'm surprised there's not a Rip Van Winkle Jared Leto meme yet, but it was nuts. But in a way, it did prepare me to have a great deal of equanimity stored up.
Yes.
And I've been meditating for 2 hours a day, since I got out, and I've been alone since. So I went from isolation to isolation, but I'm pretty reclusive as it is, so not a lot has changed for me. But I think about the families in Italy. I think about people that are together, in maybe a situation that's, I feel like I have it pretty lucky, I should say. And I think about people that are in really challenging situations, having to share smaller spaces, and how taxing that can be. And think about the elderly or people that aren't doing so well. and it just breaks my heart. So, you know, I mean, I wish there was something that we could do, and I'm just doing my part to try to keep some people entertained and distracted. If that helps a little bit, okay, fine. I know it's just an infinitesimal drop in the bucket, but you know, that's what I do. That's what you do. We're entertainers.
Yep.
We're artists, creative people. So, you know, it's just about using creativity to help try to solve some part of the problem, and hopefully it's, you know, has some value to someone. I don't know.
I think you're doing it the right way, man. And you know, we dove straight into live streaming and cooking shows and free music and free concerts. I feel bad for all the people that are in major cities. You and I, we've kind of won the quarantine lottery. You know, I know where you live, obviously, and you got a lot of space. We have decent amount of space here. And I think that, imagine being in a studio apartment, like in like the center of Frankfurt or you know, or Moscow or LA or New York, and you can't get outside. There's so many places that I think would be harder to quarantine, and I still feel like we won the lottery. And it's funny, when you came out of, I DM'd you, or I posted something when you came out of your 2-week excursion into the world that had changed like that. I had one other friend, Blake Mykoski, the founder of Tom's Shoes. He was doing the same thing. He came back the day before you, and he texted me. I'd spoken to him in France 2 weeks before. We were talking about doing something together, and he texted me. He goes, "Hey, literally just turned my phone back on after 8 days he was gone, and how are you doing?" I said, "Blake, have you checked the news yet?" And then like 10 minutes later, he was just like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" It's like, I still can't believe, I can't imagine coming back from where you were into this. It's just it's such a shocking thing, but I think you are well equipped to handle it. Your meditation.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, it was pretty handled, and it's just good to have that skill. And I encourage anybody who's feeling a little antsy, you know, meditation can be thought of as this kind of wonky, hippy dippy thing, but
no, it's
there's
phenomenal.
a lot of science behind it, and it can be really helpful. Anyway, I'll let you go. Everybody should check out your song. Is great. It's perfectly timed, and it's just beautifully done. Again, Ryan, thanks for jumping in and saying hi.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
I'm around for the next 2 months.
See you on the other side at some point.
Yeah, I would love that, man. Let's do something. All right.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.